Awesome. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here because I get a chance to talk about my two favorite things, software delivery and Argo CD. What's great about this doing this live is I'm no longer just speaking to a blank wall in my hotel room, so that's fantastic, but I'm also blinded, so I can't really see anyone out there. So we've listened to a lot of great updates about Argo CD over the past hour or so, as well as the significant uptick in Argo CD. But I think it's important to remember that Argo CD is a tool with a single job. It's not an entire software delivery pipeline. When you think about all of the work that goes into a software delivery pipeline, there's a tremendous amount of work that happens before as well as after when Argo CD comes into play. And the best analogy that I can think of is that Argo CD is an engine to a really powerful car, and the car being the software delivery pipeline. And you absolutely need both of them. You can't just have an engine without a car, and you can't have a car without an engine. But all too often, I think, after you start implementing Argo CD, my first time implementing Argo CD, I was up and running in like 10 minutes. I was like, this is great. But that was my very first application, just very simple proof of concept. But slowly but surely, I ended up building the Homer Simpson mobile instead of a really fancy sports car. And I think everyone probably ends up unintentionally building the Homer Simpson mobile. I think the only person who really wanted to build this was Homer Simpson. So you really need to think about what your software delivery pipeline should be. And it's really easy. Now I get to see everyone because I went from the dark screen to the light screen. It's really easy to see how it happens because you start out with a really simple pipeline. And it's not a whole lot going on with it. You have a single application. You have a single Kubernetes cluster. But then as time goes on, you slowly start adding in all these other bits and pieces. You start adding in multiple environments. You start adding in multiple clusters. And you end up with a lot of Argo CD instances, managing a lot of different clusters. And you have to start worrying about how on earth do I do promotions? How on earth do I handle any sort of pre and post deployments? And then what ends up happening is you unfortunately start writing all the custom code. Now, I was at a conference last week, and the phrase that was used for a lot of different people from, this was at a SRECon, they call them script doctors. And I'm sure if we're really being truthful with ourselves, we can tend to be script doctors ourselves. And so you end up writing all of these custom scripts to build out this software delivery pipeline, and that's what you end up with. And that's how you end up with the Homer Simpson mobile. And so really what you want is you want a control plane that helps you manage your Argo CD instances. Argo CD is still very, very important, but you need to have something to allow you to model it. So you can have something that says, this is my Argo CD instance that application that represents my test application. This was what represents production. But then you need something to allow you to easily promote your various applications. So, on top of that, you also need the capability to also run all the appropriate workflows that occur before and after you do a deployment. So getting approvals, running smoke tests, anything along those lines. And so really that's what we're trying to accomplish over at Codefresh. We want to be the GitOps delivery pipeline for Kubernetes. We are one of the leading Argo CD maintainers, and we leverage all of that training and expertise to provide you with support. On top of that, we also offer GitOps training and certification. So if you're interested in that, please stop by our booth because we're offering 50% off on any GitOps training and certification. So thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.